I thought his comments were a bit bizarre in the fact that if you're sitting behind Manchester City, Chelsea, and Liverpool or United, and you're talking about a lack of quality or strength in depth, and he's making cryptic comments about the inability to bring more players in and stuff, I'd understand it. When you're looking at where they are in the table with the squad they've got compared to other teams above them, that's his fault.
Yeah.
His fault in terms of how he's coached and motivated. Yes, they've played more games than anyone else this season. I get that. But then his rotation has not been right, or the way he's dealt with the training or the recovery or whatever. There's lots of factors to this. But ultimately, when you look at that table, you can't tell me that Tottenham shouldn't be at least competitive with Leicester, West Ham, Everton, if not above them all. That you can't sit there and make excuses and say no other coach.
What? Just push back on that for a second. Why should Tottenham?
That's why he's there.
But why should Tottenham be competitive with Leicester? Why is that a given?
Because of the squad quality. When I look at the players individually.
Well, okay. Well, you're looking at Leicester's squad of players, and you're saying they're not as good as Tottenham's.
I'm saying that Tottenham should be competing. When you look at Leicester's squad and Tottenham's squad, there's not too much difference. If anything, you would argue that Tottenham could possibly have the better players. So some of, especially in attacking areas, when you look at Kane, okay, Vardy's done brilliantly, but when you look at Son, would he get in Leicester's team? Son, I think so. I think he'd have a hell of a chance.
Yes, absolutely.
I think, we're looking at two teams that are pretty level in terms of squads, and we could argue that till we're blue in the face. The point is that I think another coach could get more out of Tottenham and could put them in a position where Leicester are, even with the squad they've got.
And the Leicester hierarchy, Danny, got a hold of Brendan Rodgers.
I'm using Leicester just as an example.
It's a good example. Simon, Leicester got in Brendan for this very reason, in the hope that he might get them to the lofty heights that they've got to. Levy brought in Mourinho to do exactly the same, but he's flopped.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. If Danny, go to the point of comparing and contrasting, which is an easy thing to do, but not really doesn't have that much tangibility. But if you took Brendan Rodgers into Tottenham 15 months ago, would you expect Tottenham to be doing what Leicester are doing now?
I'd expect them to be in a better position than they are right now. If you're saying would they be on the exact, it's hard, isn't it? I think my gut feeling is they would definitely be in a better position than they are now.
See, I think Leicester are a far better side than Tottenham. I think they've got individual players. I think we're flattered by some of the names. It's all well and good putting names on team sheets, but when you look at what actually achieving, if you look at Gareth Bale and close your eyes, Gareth Bale is Gareth Bale. But when you look at his performances this season, okay, he was better yesterday, but so he should be after 6 months.
Yeah.
And you look at some of these players and you think to yourself, well, I wonder how many of them would actually get into Leicester's side. I'm not so sure the Lamellas of the world would get into Leicester's side and so on and so forth.
Yeah, how many Leicester players would get into the Tottenham side if they hadn't been working with Brendan?
Well, Maddison was already there, wasn't he?
Yeah, I know. You can name one or two, but what I'm saying is a lot of Leicester's players have progressed under. Well, you could Schmeichel ahead of Lloris maybe in the last 6 months. Maybe. But these are opinions, Simon. What I'm saying is the progression of Leicester's players, I think, is largely down to the coaching.
Yeah.
And I think if Brendan,
for example,
we're using Brendan as an example, but if Brendan had been in charge at Tottenham 15 months, they might be playing better football in a better position, but they might not be in a League Cup final. There's lots of pros and cons to this.
But it's a good point you make, Danny. I think if Brendan had been in charge of Tottenham on a Monday morning after losing to West Ham, I don't think you'd hear from Brendan Rodgers saying things like, there are problems I can't resolve. And that's why this Monday morning, there are two very different sets of emotions between Tottenham fans. I'm going to head to the break, Simon. We'll keep this going after.
On his own.
He's saying
I can't resolve them